Ready?
Three, two, one.
Hold on, I literally just got a text message. I literally just got a text.
Please
Okay.
keep this in.
All right. Go ahead.
No,
We're live.
good.
That's how. That's in there forever.
That's in there forever. All right. So what's going on, man? How you been?
Dude, been good.
Saw you cruising over here in the drop top.
Yeah. I never want to get rid of that car.
Really?
Yeah. It's
What kind of car is it?
it's a
I
O2
didn't see it when you
Miata.
pulled up.
It's my buddy Reed's old car. I've always like ogled it from afar, and then he told me that he wanted to sell it back when I was in California, and he would let me borrow it when I would come home to visit, so I would have wheels. And
Don't sell it. Don't sell it. I want it.
Yeah, I mean, didn't think I would come back or like actually buy it, but I've always wanted a Miata, and I always really liked his. It has the hard top, and it had a 6-speed, which it took me the second time driving it to realize, like, wow, this car actually does drive on the interstate okay, and it's not just like pegged down going 70 at like $5,000. But yeah, so I've had that since February, I think, is when I totaled my van.
You totaled your van?
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Whoa, no, man. Are you serious?
Dude. So I don't have that anymore. It wasn't bad, but it was like,
dude, that's a drag.
Totaled.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty bad.
I was wanting to get rid of it. It was mostly just body damage. I hit a curb and it like pulled me over into a telephone pole that was like a foot off the road on Highway 269, and maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it hit the passenger like side view mirror so hard that it like shattered the window. And I thought I just hit like a pothole or like a cinder block in the road or some shit. Like I wasn't really paying attention. It was kind of late, and it just shattered the window. And I was screaming, "What the fuck!"
Right.
And I like pulled over to a gas station. I saw I had a flat tire, and I was like, "Oh damn, okay." And my rim had a pretty big dent in it from the curb. I didn't see any of the side damage or anything. It was late, and when I got the spare tire on, and I like went to pull off, it was like wouldn't go. Something was fucked up, and I got out.
So
and
you
looked,
changed the tire, and you're like, all right, I'm
yeah,
good.
the whole wheel was just back.
Oh, dude.
It was back like 6.
The
8
wheel
inches.
you changed?
Yeah.
You didn't realize it's like...
No, dude. The wheel was turned, and it was late, and I was tired and pissed off. So I just like screaming, cussing, and fussing, change his fucking wheel and go out, and then
It just wouldn't...
yeah, it was it wouldn't go. So I called my sister and got her to pick me up.
Dude, bummer, man.
Yeah. But it just had like a big swipe all the way down the side, and I paid like less than $3,000 for it 5 years ago, and it's got 270,000 miles on it.
Now, what was it exactly?
It was a 02 E150 Econoline with the 5.4 liter.
And you bought that with the intention of driving it across the country when you
Yeah.
first got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did you buy it here and drive it there? Or
Yeah.
you bought it there and drove it here?
I bought it here, sold my car, and drove it there, and then drove it back when I moved back last December.
That's a pretty good track.
Yeah, dude. I
About
put
to say.
50, 60,000 miles on it.
It's crazy. So that's kind of what I wanted to, first of all, ask you about. It's like several years ago, 5 years ago, I guess,
Yeah.
you bought that van with the intention of driving out to California and living out of it.
No, I did not plan to live out of it. I had a place when I moved to California. I bought the van to take all of my shit to Cali, and I built like a makeshift bed in the back.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
basically
I
just a
saw the
platform.
bed because I remember coming and hanging out right before you left. On
Yeah,
your
my
trip.
mom dropped her and my sister on the driveway when we were sitting in it.
But
Yeah, so in the back of the bed
was
and
the
everything.
bed and stuff. I was like, okay,
That was
you're
just a
gonna live in
crash
the van.
pad.
That's just a place to crash.
It was
Okay,
like
okay.
storage and like a place to sleep, so I didn't have to pay for hotels on the way over there. And I only
Gotcha.
slept in it maybe 4 times, and like 1 or 2 of those were naps, like a couple hours here or there. Just like, okay, I'm kind of tired, pull over to rest stop, and then keep
Okay.
going.
Oh, on your trek out.
Yeah, and then I lived in the same house in California, in Sacramento, for a year, and then I moved in with a couple of buddies, and the roommate that I replaced, when she put in her 30-day notice, they gave us a 60 shortly after to vacate, so they could jack up the rent because that was like kind of rent skyrocketing.
What part of California is this?
That was Sacramento. It was like hitting San Francisco, Oakland, like the whole Bay Area, and then Sacramento was starting to feel the effects. It was maybe like 6-8 months later, I think.
What, just the rent skyrocketing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like that was like pretty much the edge of my budget. Like I had just gotten a job, and I was like, "Cool, I can swing this. This is totally gonna work. Get the fuck out!" Like.
Well, I remember I came and visited you.
Yeah.
And we spent a couple days hanging out. I didn't realize Sacramento was the capital of California at the time.
Oh, yeah, we went to that park.
And we went to the park and like saw the trees and stuff. And I was like, dude, this is a pretty epic park. And you're like, well, it's the capital. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun trip, man. We walked across the...
Yeah, I'm glad you got to stay in that house because it was
and
super
stuff.
rad.
That was cool. So when you first went out, what was the idea behind going out in the first place, I guess?
I've always wanted to live somewhere besides Birmingham, just to kind of like get out and see what else is out there. And
Gotcha.
I had a friend who, the girl that I moved in with when I moved there, I went to go visit her. She just like pestered me enough to like finally I bought a plane ticket and went out there for 2 weeks and just fell in love with Northern California. Went to Auburn and the Yuba River, Lake Tahoe, San Francisco. And I want to say we went somewhere else that was like hiking like out in the desert. It wasn't really the desert. It was just like it was like the end of the drought. And I like later went on that trail and everything's green, like almost like Oak Mountain. But the first time I was there, it was like brown. Everything's just beige brown. Looks like the Middle East almost.
You were like, oh, okay, this is how it always
Like,
looks.
whoa, the desert's like 30 minutes away and like there's the city of trees is right here. This is so crazy. I love California. And then I went out there, like, again, and I was, like, expecting all this desert shit, and it was, like, green and lush and beautiful. And I was like, what the fuck? This is the same trail, right? And they're like, yeah, the same one. California's crazy.
So after you flew out there, you fell in love with it, and you decided,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a van, drive out there, and just... Did you have a job lined up or anything, or did you just kind of, like...
My friend Lauren found a place, her and her girlfriend at the time, found a 2-bedroom and like timed it to where I could move in when the lease started, and I got there like 2-3 days before, and I think they like let us move in early or something like that because it was like literally zero. Like I moved all my stuff in that day or the next day. I just parked the van and was just like, okay, I'm done. I want to sleep in a bed. And but I mean, I don't know where I was going with that.
How long did it take you to drive out there?
I took 2 weeks.
Okay, so you made like a road
yeah.
trip out of it.
I mean, the route I went, I probably could have made it in like 3.5 days, but a lot of it was going to visit friends. I went and hung out with like Banditos up in Nashville, and then the next day they were playing a music festival in Bristol. So I drove 4 hours out of the way and 4 hours back. Snuck my dog into a music festival, and he like was running around on stage, and I was like, "Get the fuck off!" And I think Mary was like, "No, dude, this is awesome. Let him do it. The crowd loves this. We're all having fun." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah." So he was just like up on stage dancing around, having fun. Partied with them. Hung out. I think I stayed with Josh and I can't remember his name now, but went from there to Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha. Then kind of just like booked it across the Midwest. Stayed with my buddy Robbie in Colorado and Golden. That was awesome. At some point,
Oh yeah, we've been to Golden actually. It's like a small little town, like right there in the valley or whatever. It's pretty cool.
it's a weird South Park like town.
Really?
Yeah.
See, we were only there for like 2 days, so I didn't really have time to explore all of it. But I remember there was this one little town that I went to, and I had a free day, and Katie was doing stuff with the wedding that we were there for. And so I was flying solo, and I just went and found this neat little town and went and hiked around. I was like, dude, this is so cool.
Oh, yeah, it's
cool
great.
little
Did you
area.
go by the Coors factory?
No, I saw it, but I didn't actually. I heard they give like
didn't
free
either.
tours and stuff.
Yeah, they get free tours with free beer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about the free beer part.
I think you get like 3 per tour.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, damn, dude, we should go. And like everybody that was there was like over it. They didn't want to do that.
Okay.
But I mean, we were like hiking around there, saw deer, saw coyotes, saw all kinds of crazy birds and shit like that. My buddy Robbie had like a fly fishing store in downtown Golden, and had like a I want to say it was like an $8,000 or $9,000 fly fishing rod, which I didn't know was a thing that existed.
Dude.
Yeah, and he's just like in the middle of downtown, just like in traffic, just like slinging this fly like
just down the street.
like 30, 40 yards, and it's just like
testing it out.
yeah, it's just curling perfectly above the road, and then it just like the fly drops, and then he'll like a car will come, and he's just like holding the rod down, and the lines like
Let
in
him
the
drive
road.
over
Yeah,
it.
they're just driving over it, and they're looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "Get out of the way, come on!" And then he just goes again, and just having a ball. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. I warped my rotors somewhere in the Midwest. Like a bunch of people were doing something bad in front of me, and everyone had to slam on their brakes. And my van was like fully loaded,
Really?
so like it warped my brakes to where it was like violently shaking.
Now,
every
where
time
did
I
you
had to
buy
stop.
this van that you took out there?
I want to say it was on Craigslist. Something like I just found
But
it.
you felt
I talked to
confident
this
enough, like I'm gonna
dude.
load all my stuff into this and drive it across
It
the
was
country.
very sketchy at first, and then he finally found the service records for it, and it was like fleet maintained. I think it was like a sheriff's vehicle that they used to like transport prisoners or inmates or something like that, like in between facilities. So it had like a bunch of highway miles on it and was like meticulously taken care of. Like I had a couple of like small things, like the back fan went out, and I think it was because I was living in it with a dog, and it just got junked up with dog hair and stuff. But mechanically, the thing was perfect. It never gave me any trouble. No.
So you felt good about it.
Oh yeah,
before you
dude.
left.
Totally.
But the intention was never to live in it.
No, not at all.
Okay. So you get out there, and
Yeah.
you got a place to stay, and of course the
Yeah.
deal with the lease. So
Yeah, so my buddies just have places to move and crash with or whatever, and I just like started getting like my social wheels.
how
under
long
me.
had you been there at this point?
A year and
Okay, so
a month.
you've been there a while.
Yeah, but it's
living in
like
this
really hard to move somewhere and then like create a new life.
Sure.
And that was
well, that's-
just
yeah.
starting. Like one of the dudes I had met like one time before, like I met him one time before I moved in, and
That's
we had,
pretty crazy.
yeah, and I still talk to both of those guys to this day, fairly regularly. And like when I moved to Oakland, like they all ended up moving to the Bay. They both moved to San Francisco, and then one moved from San Francisco to Oakland. And like we've always been homies, but they had places to move is the point of the story, and I did not. So I was like, cool, I'll just crash in my van for a month, and then like I'll figure it out. And like someone threw a couch out on the alley, and I like
What?
checked
Are you
it for
serious?
bed bugs, and then just put it in my van, and that's where I slept.
You put a couch in your. Now you still had the bed in the back though, right?
No, it was in storage at my old house. Like it was just kind of like sitting up against the wall, and I had a couple of other things.
Oh, so
like,
you pulled the bed out.
yeah,
Okay.
and it was. I mean, when you say bed, it's like
You
a
built
piece
it
of
yourself.
plywood with a 2x4 legs, and then a piece of carpet on top.
I
and
saw it right before you left, and I was like, "Oh, this looks like a bed." I
Yeah.
mean, it
When-
qualifies.
Yeah, before I left, it was good. I had like a futon mattress that actually slept really well. It's like a good density foam mattress.
So you throw the bed out, you get the curb couch, and put that. in your
Yeah,
van.
dude, it was super comfortable.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would like take the back cushions and like put them on the ground next to it. Like me and Levi like slept great. Just like
Now,
we
what
could
kind of
spread out.
dog is Levi?
He's a brown dog.
He's a brown dog.
Yeah.
But he's like a big brown. I know.
Yeah, yeah, he's
obviously.
like
I've
90
met
pounds.
Levi, but he's like a 90-pound dog. You're living in your van
Yeah,
with the curb couch.
yeah.
Okay.
I did have friends that I could like crash with, and I had a gym membership, so I had showers. I was like going to a climbing gym.
Okay, cool.
So I could go in there and like hang out and like use their AC or whatever and like, you know, chill. Like I had it pretty well, especially in Sacramento, because I had like lots of friends, and I was working at a bar at the time that closed at 2, and so I'd get out of there at like 3 after cleaning up, and I had lots of friends that would stay up late partying in many different ways, and they like most of the time like I would park like across the street because it was by a park that I could let Levi run around like off leash, and there was lots of big trees, so it was like shaded, so I wouldn't have to like crank my van and run the AC because Sacramento is hot as shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, the whole time I was there, it just rained nonstop. It was kind of chilly. I think I came around like December.
The winters suck, and the summers are kind of miserable unless like 100 degrees there is like our 90. Like if you go outside, you're going to be uncomfortable, but if you have shorts and you can find shade and a little bit of breeze there, like you're fine. 90 is not a big deal. 115 is like when it's 100 here, and there's just no escaping the suck outside of terrible.
Dude.
Yeah. So I lived through that in Sacramento.
How long were you in Sacramento?
2 years. So I lived in my van for a year.
A year?
Yeah.
Dude. That's
and I was,
wild.
Yeah. I was working like a bar job at like a gay leather bar called The Bolt.
Okay.
One of the best bars I've ever been to.
One of the best bars.
I
visited that bar when I came to visit you, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was something else. I was there for a brief time, and I got out of there before it got too late. But so yeah, you were working there and then living in the van, and you said you were there for a year after the lease in your apartment.
So I was living in my van for a year, and I had like a couple of jobs, and then it kind of dwindled down to like 2 days a week at the bar, and I wasn't really doing much. I was like floating, but like couldn't save up enough money to get a place, but I wasn't like going broke either. So I was like kind of just coasting, like trying to figure something else out. And then I had a buddy that like invited me to go do something in Oakland, and we ended up staying at like one of her friend's house, and that we went to a bar like right after he got off work, and he was just complaining about how stupid the people were that he had to fire the next day, or that no, he had to fire him that day, and it sucked because they weren't bad at their job, or they weren't bad people. He liked them as people, but they were just really bad at their jobs, and no matter what he tried, they would not get better. And I jokingly said, completely facetiously, like, "Oh, cool, you're hiring," and he's like, "Dude, I will fucking hire you right now." And I thought he was joking. I still thought this was a joke for like 10 minutes, and then I finally realized, like, oh shit, he's serious. I don't have shit else better to do.
You ever met this guy? Or
this was the first time. Yeah, we had been hanging out for like 10 minutes when we started talking about like him hiring me jokingly. So 20 minutes into the conversation, I'm like, okay, I might actually come to Oakland and work. And I lived in my van, and it's only like an hour and a half drive. So as long as I would do it at night, I wouldn't really have to worry about traffic. So I would work at the Bolt. And
so you're bouncing between Oakland and Sacramento.
And I was working there like 3 days a week in Oakland. I would crash in their house or just sleep in the van, which is what I was normally doing. And they had a dog, and she and Levi were really good friends, and they had like a fenced-in yard. And then I eventually, like, I did that for a while, and I was just making more money, and they wanted me to go full-time. And it was just it was slowly becoming not worth my time to go back and forth. And so I just kind of like pulled out of Sacramento and moved into Oakland. And I moved into like the front house on their property. And
so they actually had a place for you to crash.
Yeah, one dude, my buddy Michael, moved in to an ambulance that his buddy Ian was like. Yeah, he was in South America or Central America.
He's about to say,
I know someone who's converting an ice cream truck right now, actually. So
sick. Did you see the new RZA ice cream truck song?
No.
There's like a new jingle that he made because the old one has like a lot of racist roots. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So he just like made a new jingle that's like free in perpetuity. So like everyone and every ice cream truck or whatever can use it for free. And
okay.
Yeah, dude. But
I didn't realize people were living in ice cream trucks and stuff. I guess you can convert anything. Like
you can convert anything into a tiny home.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you want to live in like a litter box, there's sure somebody somewhere.
Sure, somebody's got a YouTube video living in a litter box.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, he moved in to this ambulance with his buddy, and they were like driving around like Nicaragua and Costa Rica and like all these like Central and Southern American countries. And that dude had been gone for like 6 or 8 months prior. And then he stayed with him for it was supposed to be 3 months. And then ended up being like 5, and he said he was like not gonna come back, and like I was kind of hoping that
he's like, man, I'm loving it.
I was loving like him, his brother and I got along really well, and like I didn't say, at that time I had like a lot of my bad habits under control, but I adopted a lot of good new habits. Like I was juicing, like making juice, like
like
smoothies or whatever.
I was like, juicing? What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude. Can't you see the roids?
Didn't know what kind of juicing we were talking about there.
No, the good kind. But like, was doing that, and like,
what bad habits did
we'd make dinner for each other, and just like I was doing a lot more like grown up shit.
Okay.
And then like
that's always good.
The brothers swapped, and like he moved back, and I swapped rooms, and then living with the other brother, it was like
Costa Rica brother.
Yeah, it was like a bartender in San Francisco, and he would come home at like 4:00 in the morning with like 3 or 4 of his like drunk coworkers, and they would be partying and like staying up late doing allegedly illegal things until like 6-7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, cool, yeah, I guess I'll have a glass of whiskey. And they would like, it was like a really, really nice whiskey bar too, and so they would bring home like $200 bottles of whiskey, shit I would never get to try again. And I'm just like, okay, cool. And I had like my little rocks glass, and then we had like big cubes in the freezer, and so I would like I would be almost asleep, dude. There was a couple of times I'd fall asleep on the couch, and then they would stumble in. So it was like the opposite. It was like a bunch of like bad influence kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then the other brother moved back in, and then I moved back into the van. And at this point, I think I had 4 jobs.
You had 4 jobs.
Yeah. So I was working
when the other brother came back, he's basically like, I need my room back.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was saying he wasn't going to come back. And I was like,
so you're
okay,
just like
that's
floating, like, oh,
cool,
I'll cover your
dude.
rent. Cool. What's up?
Yeah, dude. I had a place in Oakland for like $800-900 for a bedroom in a house with a fenced-in yard. And I knew everyone who lived on the property and was like cool with them.
What's typical rent in Oakland?
Not that, dog.
Not that. A lot worse. I can imagine it's probably.
It's like high. They all moved out, and like right now they would probably put a case of, like a new layer of paint across the inside and outside of those houses, and then it's probably $1,600 for that bedroom because it's like super, super close to the bridge, super centrally located as far as Oakland. It's like right off of San Pablo, which is the main drag. It's kind of like University here, where it just like it's a thoroughfare. So, like, any commute was pretty convenient for me at that point.
Now, you said when you were in Sacramento before you moved to Oakland that the rent prices were just going through the roof. Was there anything particular that was leading to that, or is that just the way big cities go?
There was a lot of things. Like, San Francisco was like a microcosm for what was happening all across the country as far as, like, rent and, like...
Well, I heard San Francisco's got some of the highest rent in the world.
For sure.
Yeah, it's definitely the highest in the country. It's definitely the highest in the country. It passed New York like 5 years ago, I think.
God, that's crazy.
And so San Francisco, like all the tech boom,
right,
was kind of like the driving force behind it. But that's kind of the history of San Francisco, is like it's constantly evolving and changing. And it was the hippies, and then like it was like a gay mecca for a long time, and then like tech kind of came after that. There's probably something else in there that I've missed or don't remember, but
either way, it's a really popular place.
So like tech made it happen really fast too, because there was so much money in it, and San Francisco is a cool place to be. It's the biggest city next to like Silicon Valley, like Palo Alto and all that stuff. So like that's where all the people who had a shitload of money wanted to go live, and they would, to the point where there's like Google buses, like big giant charter buses that are just all white, and it's like Google and other like big tech companies will just like bus in from other cities, like a free commute, and you just get on the bus, go sleep or do your work or whatever. They all have Wi-Fi and all this other stuff. Dang. And so it happened in San Francisco first, and then it flooded out into like East Bay and South Bay and North Bay, and then it just slowly made its way to Sacramento. Of the people that kind of fled of like, okay, I want to stay close, but it
seemed like when I was out there visiting you in Sacramento, a lot of the people that I met, that was one of the overarching themes of basically every conversation was like, man, I can't believe how high, rent's getting and blah, blah, blah. And I knew you had only had like a week left, before your lease was up and you were going to have to find somewhere to go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just heard a lot of people complaining about the rent there and stuff. And I'm sure it's only gotten worse.
Probably heard a bunch of people talking shit about tech too.
That, and they build, like, we went to this new stadium thing they had just completed for like the basketball team there.
Oh,
like
the new King Stadium.
Yes, yes. And they said they attributed to that. I heard a couple of guys like, "Oh, we got this new stadium, and that's what's driving the rent up for everybody."
Yeah, they would. It was being gentrified pretty fast.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's the word.
And it's kind of like, I was really sad to see Birmingham doing the same thing, where it's just like a bunch of like kind of ugly condo buildings going up.
Yeah, they're actually building a new one right over in right in the main drag of Avondale, where there's two houses, those big houses burned down.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the way over here.
I saw a thing on Beham Now that says they're going to build some multi-condo building. Like we don't have enough of those.
Copy paste. All of downtown's that way now.
Yeah. There's condos going up everywhere.
Like when we started at Holt to now not working at Holt, driving downtown, it's like I don't recognize some of the.
Yeah, all of like view that has been like grass for as long as I can remember is like unrecognizable. No. And I remember when my buddies used to have like their old motorcycle shop over on 4th, which is like
that's right next to us.
Yeah. That's converted into something else now.
We used to do like wheelies and dumb shit on that road all the time, and it's like a fairly main drag. But at 10 p.m. there was just nothing over there, so nobody would go.
That Porsche shop.
Yeah,
dude, 4th is a pretty main throughway, I guess, to get from like downtown definitely. Over into
I mean
east side, like because they've repaved it all and
it's so nice now.
There's condos going up everywhere.
Speaking of Miata, that thing does not like bumps at all.
It's stiff.
Oh yeah, and the wheels are
like
too
your
big.
Honda.
Yeah, I sold my Honda, by the way.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
When did you sell that?
I sold it, probably a month ago. It was
hell yeah, dude.
It was a '94 Honda Civic hatchback. Mm-hmm. And I sold it, and I got $2,000 for that thing.
Holy shit! I paid $3,000 for that one,
dude. I couldn't believe it.
300,000 miles.
It had over 300,000 miles. Over 300,000 miles. Yeah, I drove it to California. I drove it to.
I remember
Santa Monica and back. Yeah.
Is that when you went with Randy and Zach, or y'all flew that time?
No, we flew.
Yeah, because I ended up sleeping outside.
I was gonna say, is that the time y'all slept in cardboard boxes?
Yes, that was the first.
Can we
time
talk about that?
Yeah, dude. Let's put you on the spot in California.
So, I mean, briefly,
tell that story.
I don't have a lot of stories.
Because you said you flew out there with no plan at all, or something, or it fell through when you got there.
Yeah. So some buddies of mine. I'm still in college at this point, and we had the idea to go out. I got invited by a friend of mine I'd met, and he said he traveled out there all the time. He was like, "Hey man, go with me. I'll find you a place to stay. Don't worry about it." And I was broke, didn't have any money, and I scrounged up enough money to buy a plane ticket, and had my backpack and my skateboard and stuff, and we flew out there. And as soon as we got there, we quickly realized we had like nowhere to go. You know what I mean?
That's such a startling realization.
I know, man. Like we got there and we like found this little taco place, and we were all hanging out and having a good time. And then it started to get dark, and I was like, okay, what's the plan? And I don't know, to long story short, the guy that we were with, he basically didn't really have a plan, as much as I thought he did. And so we ended up just kind of wandering around Venice Beach for most of the night until we were just too tired, and then we found a cardboard box and piled up in a bush and went to sleep, or tried to sleep. It was so cold, man. That was what I didn't expect when it got dark. I think it was in the summertime we went out there, but man, when it got dark, it was freezing.
Oh yeah.
And I only had like I don't even know if I packed a hoodie. The next day I went and bought a jacket. But I just remember being so miserably cold.
Yeah.
And then after that,
especially on the coast, because like that water is always 50 degrees or colder.
Oh yeah, the water was freezing.
So you just have like wet, moist air just all over you.
But yeah, that was kind of a startling realization. And I realized I didn't have much money. We couldn't like afford a hotel or anything. And so we found like a few hostels to stay in that were pretty cheap. And we tried to stay at some buddies' places, but they were like, "No, we can't," for whatever reason. And then after that, I think I remember calling the airline and changing. I was scheduled to leave like on a Tuesday, and I called the airline. I was like, "Is there any way I can get it pushed forward? I want to get.
I gotta get the fuck out of
here."
here.
Yeah, dude. I can't live on the street for a week. I'm gonna run out of money and starve to death. And so, if I'm not mistaken, they actually changed my flight, like pushed it like 3 days earlier. And
sick.
was able to get out of there. I think the last night we were there with the friends that I went with, we all threw our money in together, and we were able to get like a little cheap motel.
Oh, nice.
And then after that, we hopped on a plane the next day and flew home. And then I got sick with the flu. So I think I got sick with the flu while I was there. I don't know if that's due to sleeping on the ground or what it was. But
so what you're saying is you brought Corona back.
This was 10 years ago.
From California,
this is
10
way
years
before
ago.
Corona.
You started Corona. When did you go to Wuhan?
This whole time.
I know. It's been incubating this whole time. It's my fault.
Who let you go to China?
Right. But
even after all that, going back to your car, a few years later, you drove out for an internship in California. You just had to go back to live in.
Well, it was fun, man. You know, it's a different world, and growing up skateboarding and always having this idea.
Skateboarding mecca.
Yeah. Where here it's like, you know, it's not as celebrated, I guess.
No, dude, not at all. All our sidewalks and roads are so shitty too.
Yeah,
like you can't use it for transportation.
It's just different culture. And
yeah.
So getting out there, it was like the weather was awesome, at least during the day, and when you have a place to stay, it's nice. And
when I lived in Sacramento, it's so flat and all the roads and sidewalks are so nice that I had like a shitty penny board. Like it was like a stereo board, whatever. I mean, it was decent. I think you have one. Yeah, this exact board. I had one of these, and I would skate that all over Midtown.
Yeah.
And it's roughly the same size as Birmingham, like downtown, like South Side and North Side. It's fucking huge, but I would skate that little thing everywhere. And it's so flexible and like just seems like such a bad idea, but like only one time did I ever have a problem. And every other time was like,
dude, didn't you have like a major wipeout or something?
Dude, yeah.
Like I saw some
I woke
picture.
up on the sidewalk.
Dude.
That picture was
what
at work.
What happened? Okay, so I saw a photo that popped up on Instagram that showed that like your whole side of your face was swollen and bleeding or something. Yeah. You'd snapped a photo.
I ate shit.
It looked like somebody had hit you with a crowbar.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
that
bad.
was like nailed to a 2x4.
So that was a skateboard accident.
I'm pretty sure. It could have been a car accident. I don't know. I literally have no idea.
You don't remember?
I woke up on the sidewalk, and I didn't realize anyone was around me. It was like 10 p.m. I'd had like 2 drinks. I was totally fine. Maybe I just like hit a rock and got wheel bite or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I hit a crack or just like wasn't paying attention. I mean, I could have been like trying to roll a cigarette and like looking at my phone at the same time. There's really no telling what. But I had never I'd like stumbled off of that board a couple of times and like maybe had to put my hands down twice. But like I never really skated it hard enough to like eat shit.
Right.
And I just woke up on the sidewalk and yelled, "What the fuck just happened?" And some guy that I didn't know was there was like 10 feet away from me, like over here, was just like, "Hey man, is that your skateboard?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, thanks." And like my brain is still reeling so hard. I don't realize that like all the blood on my face and the blood on the ground, like that guy should have had a different reaction than, "Oh hey man, is that your skateboard?" Like it just did not give a shit.
Call 911 real quick.
Yeah, like, "Hey, are you all right? Your face is bleeding." Like that thing that's not supposed to bleed is definitely bleeding, dog.
Oh my god.
Like, are you okay? Like I have no idea. Like it was in the edge of like the road and the sidewalk. My skateboard was like in the gutter on the road. And so I just like picked up my skateboard and like skated back to my car. I was like 2 blocks away. I have no idea what happened. Nobody else was with me. Went home, went to sleep with a concussion. I've been told you're not supposed to do that. I really don't.
Were you
know the mechanism?
You know you had a concussion?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I mean, it looked like it, but yeah.
I mean, my whole eye was like black from the blood. Like the white part was not white anymore.
That's so
it like started over here and just like eventually spread. And like when it got around my whole eye, it started turning red.
Did you go like get checked out by
Fuck
like, a
no,
physician?
dude. No? I don't have insurance. I can't afford that. Like I was barely making it.
You just send a picture to mom and it's like, "Hey, dude, does
no, I
this
just
look bad?"
posted it on Instagram.
You just post on social media.
Yeah, dude, I didn't.
Hey, let me see what my friends think.
Yeah, so like I woke up. That was great. I felt fortunate for that one later. But I called my boss, and I was like, hey, man, I don't know what happened, but, like, I fell on a skateboard and, like, hit my head really hard. Like, I've got, like, road rash all down my face. My eyes, like, completely, like, starting to black out. It's, like, half black. Like, I can't come to work today. And he was like, dude, you got to come to work. You can't get anybody to, like, cover for you or whatever. It's too late, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm still spaced the fuck out, dude. I have no idea what's going on. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll go to work. So I drive to work and I open up the restaurant. And, like, somebody from the kitchen was like, dude, what the fuck? Did you get hit by a car? And I was like, maybe. I'm not sure. I woke up on the ground in a pool of my own blood.
Oh, my God.
And then he showed up at, like, I got there at 9:30, opened at 10 or something like that, and he got there at like 11:30 or 12. So I'd been there for like an hour and a half, and I spent most of the day like this, just like somebody would walk in, and thank God it's an employee. And I would like go, but just put my head down the whole time. Mm-hmm. As soon as I got the bar, like as minimally open as possible. Like I could make 30 drinks without having to like redo something. It was just, if this is enough, fuck it. And he showed up, and he was just like, "What are you doing?" Oh my God, dude. Shit, go home. And I was like, yeah, this is what I was talking about on the fucking phone earlier. Like, why am I here?
Dude,
and
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. So like 6 months later, speaking of good time, great oldies, Randy and Banditos were in town, and they played in Oakland, and then they played in San Francisco the next night. And so I met them in Oakland. We hung out and we like partied, and I was supposed to work that next day, and I woke up at like.
This is 8. Right after the.
Yeah, this is like accident. A couple months later.
Oh, this is months later. Okay.
Yeah. And Randy was like, "What are you doing?" Like we slept in my van that night because like the place that they were supposed to stay, everyone kept coming down the hill, and it was a pretty steep hill, so we weren't gonna go investigate. But like everybody kept coming down and saying, "Yeah, all the beds and couches are full. Like if you want to sleep on the floor, there's no air mattresses or anything." Like. Danny's sleeping in the van or whatever. And so we were like, all right, cool. We're not even going to go up there. Like, everybody's asleep, whatever. And so we just, like, sat in my van and drank whiskey until, like, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I woke up at 9 and, like, called my boss and was like, watch this. Hey, man, I can't just totally fake sick or whatever. Like,
Same
and felt
boss.
So righteous in my heart. I'm like, you fucking owe me one. And now I'm cashing in. And he was like, yeah, totally cool, man, totally cool, whatever, didn't question it at all. And Randy just looks at me and I was like, you want a shot? I think we did a shot that morning. And then I just like partied with them in San Francisco. It was great. I hated that job. I'm not going to say the manager of the place, but like they played the worst fucking, it was like 90s alternative. And not even like the good shit. Like the shit that was beat to death when we were kids on 107.7 The X with Coyote J.
DX.
107.7. Yes. And customer complaints like, "Hey, change the music." He wouldn't.
So, is this while you're living in Oakland?
This was in San Francisco before I lived in Oakland. I ended up being friends with those people that they stayed with that night, and like we walked up to go to the bathroom and like brush our teeth and kind of hang out and talk for a little bit before we went to SF the next day. And I ended up being really good friends with like that was Desiree Cannon and. I'm totally blanking on her name, but the Long Road Society is like the record label.
So they're all like artists and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
it's killing me that I can't think of her name, but it'll come to me in a minute, and I'll just yell it into the microphone.
So, you're in Oakland. Uh-huh. You've got a semi-full-time position at a place. And you said at this time you were kind of balancing like 4 jobs.
Yeah.
All like bartender type jobs? And stuff,
no, not at all.
Just
so I was doing, I had a door shift at a beer bar in San Francisco in the Mission. I was working at the AV place. I was like their fleet manager. So I was like taking care of like the 5 or 6 vans, like a box truck that we had.
A big AV company. Okay.
The small AV company, but yeah.
Yeah.
Salute. So I was like doing that. I was working in a weed warehouse in Oakland, and what was the 4th one? Just doing like general contracting, demo, paint, drywall, installing fences, just random shit.
Whatever.
Yeah. Shaving big, like 200-pound doors in like really old Berkeley apartment buildings because the whole building's like doing this and this door's like not doing that. So it wouldn't close.
Hey, we got to make this door work again because the building's about to fall over.
Yeah. They wanted us to change the direction because it was like they put a bike rack behind it. And instead of just putting a doorstop on the floor, which is one fucking lag bolt
let's have the door swing in.
Yeah. Let's take the door off the hinges and put them on the other side so the door swings out instead. Yeah, it was not cool. Anyway, so I had like 4 jobs like bebopping around town. And I don't know, I kind of made it work for a while, but after a while, it wasn't worth it.
How long were you in Oakland?
Almost 2 years. I spent one summer at like a small river town up in Feather River Canyon called Polga.
Polga.
Yeah, Pulga. It's like a privately owned like corporate retreat town. Like it used to be like gold mining town. It was like turned into a commune kind of thing by the beatniks in the 50s, and it has like so much history. I'm not even gonna try and like do it justice, but
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like half a mile from the campfire, like where it started.
What is that?
The campfire is the one in California that burned down like
yeah.
The really bad one.
The big fires and stuff.
Yeah, I think that was 2 years ago now.
Now, how close? Yeah, man. Okay, I forgot all about those like giant.
You were half mile from that?
And stuff.
Yeah, and like it was super lucky. Like it kind of jumped over the town. Like it's in its own little small canyon in the side of the canyon, and it has a creek that runs almost year round, or most years year round. And it just kind of like hopped over most of it.
But you were there when that happened?
No. I moved there shortly after to like help with rebuilding. Like some of the structures burned down. Unfortunately, like her house, the woman who owned it, Betsy, her house burned down. So she lost like a lot of like precious, like sentimental things.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Lose your house, man. I mean, that's terrible. But how close? Where were you how close? When you said you were a half mile.
I was in Oakland. Polga is half a mile from where the campfire started.
Gotcha.
That's where I moved there after the campfire. I was in Oakland when it happened, and like we were like 3 hours away and couldn't breathe. Like it was
the smoke and
stuff.
Stuff.
It's like if you had a 10-foot tall bonfire in your basement right now in here, that's about what it was like outside. Like.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, you couldn't see, you couldn't breathe. I don't know if you've ever been in a place that's been like maced or like maces going off, and it just like fucks with your eyes, and it was like that, and like we didn't even have it that bad.
I do remember driving through the desert when there was a big wildfire coming back from Zion.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Arizona.
It was in Arizona, and we thought they were going to have the main highway closed due to the fire, but luckily they didn't. But I remember we camped that night, and it was just like the wildest sunset I'd ever seen. It was just due to all the smoke, you know.
Yeah, let's let light play around in the sky.
So, closest I've ever been to like a wildfire, brush fire, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I've never.
We don't really have those around here. It's not that.
Yeah.
Tornadoes and other
Didn't
things.
Those kids like set one over behind y'all's old house?
Oh yeah,
in Pleasant Grove.
Yeah, I heard about that in the news. Yeah. The place we used to live in Pleasant Grove was next to like a big like car junkyard.
Yeah.
And I think I read about that after.
Hand me one out of the door.
But I think I remember reading the news. It was like years after we had already gone.
Yes, sir.
That
already own it.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, you're talking right now.
No, that's fine.
But that was years after we moved out of there. Mm-hmm. Pleasant Grove, man, it's seen so many, like 3 or 4 tornadoes, then the big tornado after we moved.
The big tornado, yeah, that like mowed it down.
And then,
so like your old house is gone?
No, my whole house is fine, but like
that wasn't even the big one. The big one was in '98, the F5.
Yeah, the F5, but the one that went right through the middle.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't touch my old house, but it did like my grandfather's apartment that he was living in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I'll take another.
All right.
Luckily, he had moved across town to be closer to my parents, but the place he was staying in, it totally took it out. Yeah. I was like, dude, I'm glad you weren't still living here. That's crazy. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's like how you make your guests work.
I know.
I told you you're in the hot seat tonight.
Look, man, that was the only working place we could have the fridge. So,
it could be right here.
It'll be an arcade machine before long.
Yeah, we'll move it and put like a Pac-Man machine or something there.
Cool. Oh, that's a perfect spot for that.
I think so. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, you have a lot of fun shit on the walls.
Yeah, I tried to make it interesting. Comics. We'll try to. The X-Men comics I didn't cut up and put everywhere.
Yeah, I would be mad at you if you did that.
But some of these other cheaper comics, I Googled them first to make sure they weren't worth anything.
Smart man.
And I cut them apart. So,
were you there for that when we got all those old comics when we were kids? Were you a part of the whole pricing process of that? We lived in Pleasant Grove, and we got.
I don't think I was part of that one.
No, I don't think so.
Never mind.
We used to have boxes of comic books. Where did we get them?
We got them from a family friend through mom. He just had them and collected them, and then
he either gave them all to her.
He gave them to her.
He gave them to her.
He was like, "These will be worth something one day." Like, hold on, like as an investment. Mm-hmm. So I just remember I was younger at the time, but our entire living room was just comic books everywhere.
Oh, we were stacking and organizing
and
everything.
Pricing, putting prices on everything.
Yeah. Were any of them like actually worth big money?
I don't.
Not that I remember.
This one's worth $4.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Most
but
of
I mean, if you have
like
600 of them that are like worth $1,
but it just matters on how much time you have to like try to sell them all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this was what 2000.
This is early 2000s.
Yeah.
So
eBay is not like
it wasn't.
Big,
yeah, I don't even know if we had a home computer. At the time.
Do you still have them, or did you sell them all?
I don't know.
I think David, my uncle, got them. And he was the idea was that he was going to get them and sell them, and I'm not sure what happened really.
But I knew I went all over his walls.
Well, I went through the X-Men comics. Came from that collection, so I got all the X-Men comics, and then I got all the Sin City comics. It was right around the time that the first Sin City movie came out.
Oh yeah,
and so that was how I got introduced to Sin City, was through the movie, and then I learned about it being a comic before that, and Frank Miller and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went through, and he had I've got an entire series that was in the movie, the first movie.
Oh shit!
And it's like a 6-part comic series, and I've got all of them.
Whoa, that's rad.
So I collected all those, and I collected the X-Men, but I've never really been into comics. So
I was gonna ask, is it better than the movie?
I mean, I just left them in there. I think I read a couple of them, but the movie was definitely really cool. I think Robert Rodriguez did a good job.
So. I don't have too much ADD for comic books.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to some coworkers of mine really into comics, but I just grabbed them because I knew they might be worth something and kind of use them for decorations. But that's about it.
Yeah, that's rad. I support that.
So cool. So you're living in Oakland. You're balancing 4 jobs. You're not really digging the vibes anymore.
No,
the whole place is burning down.
Yeah, I was just kind of like.
Were you like a skydiver at one time?
Yeah, I did. When I was living in Sacramento, it's like a random
that is
Craigslist
like the
job.
Coolest thing you've ever
Indoor
done,
skydiving,
dude.
Yeah.
What was the deal with that, man?
I lost my fucking mind when I got the actual got the job. I still had to go take a physical test and go talk with the head instructor and the general manager of the place.
How much skydiving experience did you have before this?
A big fucking goose egg. None.
So you found an ad on Craigslist?
Yeah, it was something like that. I just found some shit online and was just like,
ooh, skydiving.
Indoor
cool.
skydiving. Okay, sure. And I've always wanted to do it. I saw my parents went on vacation in Chattanooga one time, and they did it, and it was it's in the early days of indoor wind tunnel skydiving, and it's clear now going through the flight instructor or the flight instructor school or whatever that they had no idea what they were doing. It's a wonder my parents are both still alive, because
really?
They just have them in giant baggy suits, which is much harder to control, much easier for the wind to catch you and lift you up. Because the technology wasn't as good. Now,
just a big fan.
Yeah, so the way they have it now, there's all these
big
kind of
fan
crazy
vented out the ceiling,
fins,
baggy suit, throw them in there, man.
Turn it fast enough.
Turn it on.
Yeah, now it's
Start
recycling.
floating.
So it's 190 miles an hour up.
That's crazy, dude.
Everything you know about physics, just throw it out the fucking window.
All right, so there's an ad that or something you found online. Are they needing instructors?
Yes.
They're needing people to instruct. So they're
a
like
4-week training.
Come join our thing, and we're going to train you how to be a flight instructor.
4 a.m. to noon, or I think it was like 4 a.m. to noon every day, because they can't close down the wind tunnel. Otherwise, they said that they spent like outrageous money on every person that goes through like flight instructor school, like gets the training program. They spend like shitloads of money on like wind tunnel time and whatever.
What did this cost to you?
Nothing. I got paid.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're paying you to do this?
Yeah, I got paid like, I don't know, like $15 an hour or some shit.
Dude.
And like I'm so broke at the time, like flat fucking broke. I'm having to borrow money for lunch. Like I'm riding with other people from Sacramento to the Bay because I had to do.
You're gonna pay me to get in a wind tunnel?
Yeah.
Deal.
Dude,
sign me up, man.
It's like outrageously expensive for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine what it takes. How much energy is
you get
consumed.
like 5 1-minute trips, and it's like $100 or something. So it's crazy. And you can buy like bigger blocks of time or whatever. And then there's people that are so good at it. Like you can see like YouTube videos of this shit, and they make it look so easy. It is not that easy. I dare anyone to try that who thinks that's easy.
So what's the point? Like why are they training you?
They're training me to be the person inside to keep you, the customer, from dying.
So is it just for this facility?
Yeah. But I mean, they have them all over the world. There's like one in Dubai and like all these other places.
So they're like, hey, we just need somebody here. We need new instructors.
Yeah, they were supposed to be opening a new one in Sacramento. So we were getting trained there, and then there was going to be a spread. And I was probably going to go back to the one in Sacramento. It was like Roseville, like a suburb of it.
Okay.
And I did it, and it was like everything I thought it could be. And then like super stressed out, all this crazy shit, and my instructors are telling me like 2 different things. Like it was if somebody like gets on their back, which is like a really dangerous position.
Why?
Because to give you an idea of like how crazy this is, like imagine like standing up. Like you can't just stand there like this because your arms are, and you're gonna go flying. Like
okay.
I mean, if you're fucking,
I've never
heavy,
been in one, so I don't know.
Have you've been skydiving before, right?
No, I've never.
Oh, you haven't.
No,
okay,
I've never done
it. If you wearing like normal clothes or even like a form-fitting suit to catch the least amount of air as possible, if you do this before you can put your hand back on your chest, your feet are above your head. You're fucking flipping in the air. It's just that fast. The wind's going up at like 150 to 190 miles an hour.
Wow.
Everything you know about physics does not exist in that wind tunnel.
Okay.
To walk forwards, you lean backwards because your back acts as a wing and pushes you.
Oh,
Great sound
okay.
effect.
Yeah.
Like flying is so fucking hard, and so like as an instructor, the job is to
you have to be good enough to do your own thing, while also controlling someone who's like wigging
so
out.
Like you go in and you talk to people, you give them the safety briefing, you give them the suits and the earplugs and the goggles and the helmet, and then you go into the wind tunnel and there's like a staging area, and then like you hop in and you tell them exactly how to do it, and then you hold on to them, and you just basically you want to keep them flying and having as much fun as possible because you want them to come back and keep spending money. It's like a great business model.
Sure.
And to be honest, I mean, if you can afford it, it's fucking worth it. It sounds stupid, money wise, but it's fucking worth it. It's so much fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, okay. It's amazing. You're flying. You're flying because there's a giant fan shoving air up, but like you're flying.
So you signed up for this,
and
and you're going through the school.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Intense. Yeah, they told us that they've had like Army Rangers not make it through.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. It was like, and I'm like super small, and like I think 280, 300 was like the max weight of people to do it, and I have to be able to do those. Like they told me that like obviously if they can or whatever, they'll put the bigger people with the bigger like customers or whatever, but like I have to be able to keep like a grown fucking man like that's 200 something pounds
flailing around just going
like
crazy,
flying into the wall and breaking his neck.
Oh my god.
And like it happened so fast. Like it was fun because the instructors were good enough at flying that they could fly like a customer and like be shaky or whatever.
But they knew not to,
and they
like,
could just dive, and it looked like they're dying. Like it just looked like, oh, that's bad. Like it's like sitting there watching someone else do it, and they're just like and then just head straight down. And then if you don't catch them, if you fuck up, they know how to land to not get hurt. But it's scary. It's like scary to watch the one dude who's in training with you that kind of sucks or whatever. It's scary, and I didn't even like watching him go through that. Like especially
much less being the dude that sucks.
You have to like catch them, and like you have to use the wind to catch them. So you have to like instead of like trying to hold their weight, you have to like spread their body out to like act
so
like
the
a kite.
wind.
Yeah,
okay.
And like
so it's just like retraining your brain.
Yeah, and it was learning how to. I had to relearn how to walk. I had to learn how to like carve. I still like it looks stupid like what I'm doing, but this is like I'm pretty sure this was like the way to. It almost looks like a dab or something silly. You look dumb if you were just like standing
just deflecting
in a room.
The wind in a way to like make your body spin.
It was something like this, and like you could use that to like because you have to everything. Once your feet leave the ground, you're in control of everything, and like if you point your toe down, it's gonna change your whole body.
Wow,
it's fascinating. Like, go do it sometime. Like, I'm down to go do it with you. I don't know if there's any.
I don't know if there's any around. Probably up in Tennessee or something.
Yeah,
touristy areas. So, how long did you stick with that?
For 3 weeks, and then my instructors were telling me to do 2 different things, and I like lost my cool. And I screamed "fuck" really loud in the wind tunnel because I didn't think anyone could hear me. Spoiler, you can.
Really?
Totally
I would think
you.
it'd be super loud.
Yeah, me too. You couldn't hear anything, even with the earplugs. But they were like, okay, kill it. Out. We got to go talk. And I'm like, fuck.
That was it?
Yeah. And
You're done.
Yeah. And then it was over.
Okay. Still, that's pretty rad.
Fun while it lasts.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You get paid for 3 weeks to go try to fly
I
around
spent
Winston.
so, like, I would have had to pay, like, probably $10,000 to get the same amount of time.
Dude, that is so awesome. Is there any, like, did anybody take any photos or video of you while you're doing it?
Probably. I don't have any of those, though.
You don't have them? Man. That's so cool.
We couldn't, like, you couldn't really have your phone and the
just shoots up.
or it goes, like, down and it just, like, falls, like, 70 feet and hits a bunch of fins and shit. We would, like, go in through, like, the tunnels and, like, clean out debris and, like, hair ties and all the shit that, like...
just falls down.
Mm-hmm. And you're like standing on like cables or like braided cables that like crisscross or whatever. And we would change them. And then like there was a couple of people I worked with that were kind of like sketchy stoners. And you're like, man, I don't want him to be on cable duty. Like I want to trust that shit today.
Dude, that's so wild.
Yeah.
Well, fun, man. So how long before Oakland started to fizzle out?
I lived in that river town for a summer. I came back. And at that point, I was kind of just over it. And so I got some of my old jobs back.
When you say came back, you mean you drove back to
Oakland.
South or back to Oakland?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I spent like 3 months there. 2 or 3 months. I think I moved back in like November. My mom flew out. I saved up enough cash to like drive back home. My mom flew out. We took another 2-week trip across the country. Had an amazing time, and then I got back like the day before Thanksgiving and my birthday.
Okay.
I got back on my birthday, and Thanksgiving was the next day or something like that. But I like showed up, and I was like, people were like, "What? Were you in town for the holiday?" I was like, "No, I moved back." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's my birthday." And somehow I got drunk. I don't know how. I went to a bunch of bars and told people it was my birthday, and I just moved back to town, and ended up fucked up.
I think we met up with you. There was like a show at Saturn or something. Not too long after
I don't
you moved
remember.
back.
Oh yeah, I think that's right. It was like a little bit after, a couple days.
That's cool, man. And then you destroyed your van.
Yeah, and then I just totaled it. I mean, I was thinking about selling it anyway. It was cool, but it wasn't. I wanted to put in a lot more work than a 20-year-old van with 300,000 miles and had a bunch of like little things to fix. Like I kind of just wanted to start over and do something like his. Maybe not quite as big, but definitely something I could stand up in. God damn, I missed that was
I'm sure
the worst.
Dude, I can't believe how long you did that with like we talked about it earlier, but your dog, having a big dog in the van with you. I can't imagine, man. Was there any time you were just like, dude, this too much or?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
I mean, all the time, especially in Oakland. Like Sacramento, there's enough space that like I could take him to the river. Like there's a river that runs like right on the outside of Midtown. When I was living in Sacramento, actually, there was another like natural disaster that almost happened. Like the Oroville Dam, which is right around Pulga too, was like cracking and about to go. And if that dam went, like the levees, we were already in like 100-year flood. Like that was
really,
yeah. We were like 20 years past the levees. Like I can't remember the exact mechanism behind how that works, but there's like 100-year, 200-year levees that they'll build, and it's like okay, every 100 years there's a flood that might be enough to, or that would definitely take this out. So like if we build it, for 200 years, we should be fine for 200 years or whatever. And it was like 20 years past what those levees were rated.
Oh, really? So it was due to be replaced.
So if that dam went, like all
those
of Midtown
levees
was going to be
nothing.
flooded. Like it was probably 10 feet from the top of the levee at like the spot I would go swimming. Like there's like a 30-foot, like pretty steep downhill, and then you're on like a dirt path that's kind of like a fire road, and you would walk down the path and go to different spots on the river, and they're like sandy shore river. It's like super nice. It's just where people go to chill out because it's always so hot in the summer.
But the water was like at an all-time high.
Dude, it was like when you walked up to the hill, it was like, oh shit, let's go. Dude. It was like there's like trees like to the end of your road. There was like that much distance that was just underwater. It's not normally. It was insane. And that was without the dam actually breaking. It was just like some cracks and just all the water from everywhere else. Yeah. I moved there for the mild, dry winters. And when I moved there, I ended the drought ended. I'm pretty sure I brought the water with me somehow, and I was like pretty pissed about it.
Rain Man.
Yeah. I hated it. It was just cold, spitting, shitty rain all winter. That day that you came and we walked around the park, it's a cool day. Like, that really wasn't bad. But when it's every single day.
Well, it was like for a solid... I mean, I was only there like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
But I remember it was like that all day from the time we got up till the time we went to bed.
Yeah.
It was like...
Seasonal depression.
Just rain just constantly? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah. So, in winter, it just turns to like Portland or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sucks. I hate it. So many other people like loved it. And the summers are kind of nice. I wish it would rain like once or twice a month. Just like, okay, this Saturday it's going to rain, so don't plan anything outside.
Yeah, if only we could get a more accurate schedule.
Yeah, James Spann, get on that.
Get on that. Need to know.
Isn't somebody in the government supposed to be controlling the weather? I think they're doing a pretty poor job.
Yeah. So, when you came, you said you drove back with your mom. You did like a road trip on the way?
Yeah.
So how was that?
It was good, man. It was really good. Surprisingly good.
Okay, cool.
We are both very stubborn people, and I figured we were going to get into some...
Did y'all stay in like hotels and stuff along the way?
No,
or y'all
not one.
Slept in the van?
We slept in the van a couple
hardcore,
times, and then
man.
we just slept with friends.
Dude, that's cool.
I went and hung out with my buddy John, who lives in Venice. We didn't stay with them, but we just like hung out for a while, and then
Venice is a weird place.
Yeah, sure. I think we ended up staying in the van that night. Or no, we stayed with another buddy, and he was like super into like conspiracies and stuff, like deep into like some shit I've just like never even heard of, and like still I don't understand how it makes sense, but he was like all about it and was just like telling me all this shit. And some of them are like, okay, yeah, dude, I kind of see what you're talking about. Like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, or it's like part of that, and like there's some more truth over here that doesn't really have anything to do with it, and it's not just.
He had a web. No, it's all tied together, brother.
Oh yeah. And then like I went on like a hike with him, and like his roommates were home, and they seemed pretty cool and normal or whatever, and I was like, okay, cool. Like my buddy's just weird, and he's always been weird. He's a cool dude. But apparently his roommates were like off the deep end, and my mom was like, "Get me the fuck out of this place."
Oh, really? You are crashing with him? She's like, no, dude.
It was so nice, and like nothing. Like I just called him, or like texted him or sent him an Instagram message or something, and was just like, "Hey man, I'm in LA with my mom.
Looking for a place to stay.
Yeah, maybe we can crash on your couch." And he's like, "Yeah, totally." And we hung out and like he played music and we just like fucked off and like had a good time, but it's weird.
Wasn't having it.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that like I want that podcast for, the Tales from the Road, where it's just like the weird shit that happens or like that crazy outrageous stuff.
It's crazy. So now that you're back in the ham, you've been back for what, a year?
Almost.
All right.
It doesn't feel that way with COVID, but yeah.
Any plans to take off and head back out to the West Coast?
Not necessarily West Coast, but yeah, as soon as I can.
Okay. You mod out a van like he did? Or do something similar, or just buy another Craigslist Econoline and
I don't know.
Just trust it.
That's like in the future. That's a bridge I'm gonna cross later.
Okay.
Right now I'm like working on the Miata. I want to get another motorcycle. And I want to like travel abroad.
Anywhere in particular?
I've always had like a curiosity about like Japan and the rest of like Southeast Asia, and a friend of mine who,
well, maybe you can jump on a trip that we're talking about going on.
Just maybe.
What's up?
He's got a buddy of his that's like all fascinated with Japanese culture and stuff, and they've been talking about trying to take a trip.
Sick. Hell yeah.
Trying to go next year.
Height.
So we've been watching like dude, we get on these tangents where we watch me and Katie. We can't find anything else to watch on YouTube. These like walkthroughs of downtown Japan.
Dude, those are so good.
It's like a 2-hour video of dude just walking around with a camera, and it's fascinating.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so cool. And they'll go down all these little back alleys and stuff, especially around Tokyo. It's just nuts, man.
Yeah, dude.
It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
And just all these little nooks and crannies, and they utilize they'll go down an alley that's not even big enough as this table, and there'll be like bars and stuff on this alley that can hold like 2 or 3 people,
Yeah.
Of course, all this stuff was probably pre-COVID, but
yeah,
it looks so cool, like. Man. Yeah,
get back from this, but.
Yeah. But anyways,
I love
the
those
videos that existed before COVID. It's really neat.
Well, luckily
really
we have those because we can see what it used to be.
I feel like I'm there.
I would love to see that like documented in Birmingham. It would be a little different,
like
but
now.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know.
There'd be some video of somebody running
whatever
from something at some point. I'm pretty sure.
Cool. Well, we can talk more about that.
Yeah. What? Talk more about what?
Japan.
Oh yeah.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
When are you like trying to go to Japan?
I don't know. Next
When
year.
they let us in?
Yeah, pretty much.
If
It's something that we've been talking. Oh, man, we've been talking about it since I lived with Tim like 2 years ago. Like, man, it'd be crazy to go to Japan.
Yeah.
And up before I did the van build, I just had all this savings. Like, I got to spend it on something. But we never did pull the trigger on doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I don't know. Last year, we started talking about it more seriously. And then this year, for sure, we've been talking about it every other week. We're like, okay, are we doing it? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So he was finally like, all right, let's do it. We need people to go with.
Mm-hmm.
And so Alex Cage, the first people, was like, is this – because they go to the Bahamas. They go to Mexico. They just got back from Portland. I'm like, okay, you guys travel. Like,
yeah, what the fuck?
How would you feel about Japan?
You're like talking about this podcast while you're on a 14-mile hike or something.
Well, that was Katie's idea. But, yeah, so.
That was for my 30th birthday.
Happy belated.
Thank you.
So she's been, long story short, wanting to do like a through hike and like a big hike, not necessarily. I don't know if do you call that
tiny little baby through hike.
But
what kind of elevation?
It was still
are we
40
talking?
miles,
so
dude.
So much elevation.
Yeah, that's a big.
We
hike.
went out. Now it's about 2 weeks ago. We went out we flew into Portland, and then we drove about an hour and a half to Mount Hood.
Yeah.
And then there's the Timberline Trail that basically.
Both wearing our shirts. We're so lame.
I'm wearing my shirt right now. Yeah, I think Katie's wearing hers. But it goes around the
shirts
base of the mountain, and so we thought shirts are overrated. You're right. Yeah, need to get some overalls like you,
dude. I'm telling you,
The Rawls, man.
Yeah.
But we thought it would be a pretty chill hike, and considering we could do like 5 or 6 miles up at like Oak Mountain, Red Mountain,
yeah, dude.
just hiking. Like, okay, we got this, and we even took our packs. and did a few miles and kind of get a feel for it. We're like, okay, we're going to do about 10 miles a day, do it over the course of 4 days. And basically the Timberline Trail goes around the base of the mountain, and you can do it in about 4 days. But the elevation gain we were not prepared for. It's like over 10,000 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah, dog.
It's the same.
Those are real mountains.
You can summit the mountain like 2.5 times. That's basically what you do doing the Timberline Trail.
Oh, that's how much elevation change.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we were
like 5 or 6 hours a day just going up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So long story short, it was a very intense, grueling trail. And by the end of it, we were beat. Because it definitely did a few more days on the treadmill before we went out there.
I thought that Red Mountain was an actual mountain.
Dude, it was beautiful, though, man. We had so much fun. It was so cool.
Colorado was like, what
just flying over, man.
Yeah.
Like, just, we started getting close to the mountains and stuff, just looking out the window of the plane. It's like, oh, my God. And they're all snow-capped. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and you're, like, riding through in summer, and there's snow in the mountains. You're like, this doesn't make sense.
We had snow crossings, and it's like 90 degrees outside. It's like,
that's
explain this,
Lake
man.
Tahoe.
Mm-hmm. Like, how's there snow on the ground? I'm sweating. I'm in shorts.
Yeah, we were at Lake Tahoe.
Because the air's so thin, it can't evaporate.
It just doesn't. I mean, it was melting. You could see it melting and feeding the streams and stuff, but still, you could build a snowball. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. Never thought about, like, hitting someone with a snowball in July.
Yeah.
Unless you're in, like,
South
America.
So we did that a few weeks ago, and we had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
So.
Yeah, you were talking about a podcast, and I see something on Instagram about you hiking Mount Hood, and I was like,
well, the thing was,
I didn't towards Tennessee, and I looked it up, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing in Oregon?"
Yeah, well, I didn't have any service while I was on the trail, and so it wasn't until we got back that I actually had time to like go through all my photos and videos and actually start sharing stuff.
Oh, okay.
And my family was like, "Send us some pictures." So, but cool, man. Well, thanks for coming to hang out, brother.
Oh yeah, of course.